Hello YouTube, this is Darkon633, and today I'm bringing a review of the Transformers Generations Voyagers class protected by Hotspot. Now, Hotspot is a bit strange, only because of the fact that between the three Voyagers, it seems as though he has a lot less plastic all over his design, which causes him to be a little bit more skinnier than the other releases. It also causes a lot of empty gaps, which you'll see on the figure once they get onto their articulation points and so on, and several other various issues that personally, although the design looks okay, just doesn't really fit into my tastes because of how little plastic they actually use to mold the figure. Now, before we go into the figure, we'll now go onto the box. As you can see, the box does sport the usual really nice artwork, and the artist did a really nice job designing the Hotspot to make him look really menacing, and I think he did a really nice job here. Same thing can be said for the Defensor on the side of the box as well. And it shows that he's part 3 out of 5 of Defensor, and obviously he has the body. So anyways, we'll go into the bend of the box. As you can see, he does transfer in 17 steps, which makes it a lot more steps than the other releases we had this far. And that's actually pretty cool. And obviously it shows here that he is part 3, which for some reason they marketed as the body here. It shows all the Protectobots on the side here, and that's pretty much it for the box. Moving on to the toy itself, he does include some accessories. Two accessories includes our two blasters, which are nearly identical, except for the fact that the wire design here on both guns do kind of go in the opposite direction when you look at the guns on the side here. I'm not sure how well that's going to pick up in the camera, but it does sport kind of opposite design. The other thing that's different is that this gun contains an extra peg, which allows you to peg these together, but it is a bit awkward, and I don't really see a whole purpose to making the double blasters like that. But other than that, these are pretty much identical, besides the fact that it is on opposite sides, and that's pretty much it. Now, he does include the usual Transformers Legends artwork trading card, which for some reason is based on his original GDO design that was released a little while ago. So that is a bit weird that they decided to go ahead and use that design rather than the full new toy. Anyways, we'll now go into the toy itself. Now, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of empty gaps throughout the figure. So before we go into the actual articulation points, I'm just going to quickly show the problems that I see with the figure out front. In the front, he doesn't look too bad, but when you look on the back, as you can see, there's a lot of empty gaps throughout the figure, including the rib cage design here, which will go for the transformation. And these empty gaps in the legs, which causes it to suffer a lot of hollow pieces, and I don't really like the design. I can see what Hasbrotoyshop tried to go with the figure to make it like such, because it does help with the transformation, but overall, the empty gaps really is a bother to me. Anyways, he does sport some pretty good articulation points. One, his head does turn 360, but it is a bit tight, so keep that in mind. His shoulders also feature ratchet joints, which allows 360 movement, and it can also bend in and out, but it's in a really tight joint there as well. He does sport somewhat double elbow joints, because the elbow is articulated up in the upper part of the arm, and also in the lower part as well, so it does kind of do a double elbow joint there, but that's mainly toward transformation as well. He does have articulation in the shoulders here, but it can only go about this far, so you can't expect a whole lot since it bends on the big shoulder pieces right there. He doesn't have any waist articulation, unfortunately, but he does feature ratchet joints throughout his hips, so it allows full movement inward and outward. His legs feature the mushroom peg design, so he can swivel all the way around with no issue. He also sports a somewhat double joint in the knee as well, once again due for transformation, but it looks kind of awkward in some positions, so there isn't a whole lot you can do. But overall, I still think he is really well articulated, and they did a very nice job designing the toy overall. Now, transformation is actually quite interesting regardless of the fact that it does have a lot of empty gaps. One problem here is that when you open this, you can definitely see the larger gap inside, but that's mainly for the fact that you can attach the head inside here when you transform it. So that's pretty much there for that, but at least you can cover it up so there isn't any issues there. His arms, to transform, you need to pull out his arms so that they attach to the shoulders like this. Now, on the actual end of the hands here, there is an area where you actually plug them in, so once you get that done, it should align properly and allows it to attach like this. Now what you can do now is that you turn this around and you can bend them inward like this. So now, as long as everything is aligned, you can attach everything properly, like, let's see, like so. So there we go. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky due to how tight the joints are here, but once you play around with it a bit, you should be able to attach it with minimal effort. But for some reason today, he seems to be fiddling around a bit. So there you go. Once you get that done, this is all you got for the back piece there. Now, for the front, it's actually quite simple, but this is where it actually gets kind of interesting. All you need to do is turn these around, and then you're going to plug these in like this. So that it allows you to kind of get them out of the way. I do that sometimes because it allows me to attach the legs a lot easier than other ways. And then, what you're going to do is actually, for some reason, it acted up there. You're going to plug these in like this. So now, they look like that. Do the same for the other side. And there you have almost the entire front cab of Hotspot together. Which does plug in a lot nicer than it did on the back there. Next, to finish out the transformation, at least for the actual vehicle part, you're going to slide down the feet pieces here. So now, it looks like this. For the actual ladder piece, this is where it gets kind of interesting. You need to make sure that this is turned in the opposite direction, so it looks like that. And then you're going to pull this piece outward, which can get kind of stuck because everything pegs them together. And then, you just kind of need to pull over like this, close it off, then push it back. And now you can easily transform it into his vehicular mode. Now, I definitely think that the vehicle mode is a lot stronger than the robot mode because most of the gaps are hidden except for the few exceptions to the back here and in the piece here. There is a lot of kibble at the bottom, but there isn't much you can kind of expect there when it is a transforming robot. But most of it is covered up in the front, and there isn't much on top, so that's good. He does transform into this really nice 8-wheeler truck, and I really think that it's a very impressive toy since as long as everything's aligned, I really like that Transformers allows you to have fully functional wheels all around, and as long as everything's lined up, it should roll properly. Now, what's also cool about this mode is that he does have a fully articulated crane, which looks really nice. Now, the ladder piece here does go 360, mainly due to transformation, but it can also be used in this mode for obvious reasons. This piece here can extend upward and can also bend in this direction, and it'll be nice if we get it on camera. So it allows you to bend it outward and so on, so the hose pieces can go to higher areas and also used for rescue. So that's really nice that it's fully articulated. Now, it is kind of weird, as shown in the photos from a while back. This piece here actually is the fencer's head. So when you kind of semi-transform it up here, as you can see, it kind of looks like you're staring at the end of the ladder. So that's a bit awkward, but it is funny that they did allow you to kind of do that here. Anyways, we're just going to plug this back. But overall, I still think the vehicle mode looks really nice, and I really enjoy the look of this figure more in this mode than in robot mode. Now, what you can do also is that you can plug on the guns on the side here, so it does give you a way of storage in this mode. And I gotta admit, this doesn't look too bad, even though I'm pretty sure rescue vehicles do not have large blasters sticking out the side of the vehicle mode. But it is really nice that it allows you to do that. You can also plug them in the bottom section here, but you're going to have to turn these around so that you can actually plug them in properly without having to not fit. So basically it looks like this. Now you kind of got this armored up car vehicle like that. And overall, I still think it's really nice that it gives you a lot of options and a lot of playability in both modes. Now, overall, I still think Hasbro did a very nice job designing the toy, especially making a figure that is compatible with the other Combiner Wars releases. Now, because of that alone, it is a lot stronger than the GDO release we got a little while back during the whole releases of the China, well, at least at one point, China exclusive toys over in America. And while the Inferno does have its own good moments, I still think this is still the better hotspot, especially if you're getting it for Defensor. Now, the gaps might be a slight personal gripe of mine, but I could personally think that it is just a major issue when it comes to Transformers, that a lot of areas does suffer from a lot of empty gaps and so on, and it kind of hurts the figure at times, but at least this time it didn't hurt it as much as some of the other figures I've seen in the past. Now, I got this from Hasbrotoyshop when it was put up for release about a week ago, and I still think it is really nice to get a hold of a hotspot, even if you can't get it at retail. Go check up on the other releases, such as like Amazon, and maybe BBTS has them as well. And I definitely think he was well worth the purchase. Just was a little bit disappointed to figure out it had a lot of issues actually having it in hand. Now, anyways, please comment and subscribe, and please check out Hirotaku for the latest news and hero news. Also check out the WRW Podcast New Home, which is actually on YouTube. I actually posted the link down below. Also, don't forget to check out the other links, my friends' other YouTube channels, and go check them out since they have some pretty good reviews of their own. You can also find me on Twitter under Darkon633, and don't forget to comment and subscribe, and I'll see you YouTube. Bye.